Alright guys, so we have finally gotten to the point where I'm going to be doing the time travel effect tutorial. It has been a whole week since I have actually, did that video, but let's go ahead and do it. Now, in my assets folder, I have two shockwaves. Now, if you do not have shockwave, you do not have to worry. Go ahead and check out in that link description. It is a media fire download link which has my own twist of a portal opening that you can use for, your own shockwave type thing for teleporting. You can use it for this tutorial. So go ahead and download that pack. It shouldn't be that much. And anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So I'll be using the shockwave, but if you have the pack, it'll be the same exact thing, except for this version, it will most likely be using either screen or add mode. So make sure you go ahead and try those modes out, okay? And you can color correct it any way you want to. So let's go ahead and use front view. Front view first. So front view, we have a clean plate. So press Command D for the clean plate, layer, time, freeze frame. Now anything that we, don't need to talk about again, I'll go through fast, so I don't need to talk about clean plates. You guys already know. I'll change this color. Now for this, we're going to find the portion when he starts to run in. So maybe about here, and then we're going to press Option left bracket. We're going to scroll in. Now we're going to stop at the point where he touches his foot off the ground, and we're going to press Option left bracket, go into here, and bring it to where it shows 22 frames. And then you see this, he disappears, which is fine. Okay? And before we get into anything else, we can go here, and then we're going to go and do the side view. Now this is optional. Of course, you can have the portion of him jumping through there, but I found it easier to do the portal scene through here. Now, of course, what you're going to do is first of all make sure it's the beginning, and then you're going to go ahead and drag it, and you're going to need another background plate. So go ahead and freeze frame that and title this second background or frozen background, anything you like. Change that to purple as well. Drag and drop that underneath. And for the side view, we're going to go ahead and slide it to the left. This is just easier to slide it. And then what we're going to do is trim at this portion. So then we go here, one frame. Then it almost is exactly the same thing, except his leg is a little bit different. But the right leg is still right there, and it's fine. And then we're going to go through here, and we're going to find the part where I hit the wall, like so. So about here. And we're going to press Option left bracket on everything. Actually, for this background, we're going to leave a few frames out, okay? Because we want, when the person disappears, we want that little portal closing. So maybe go about to 20 frames for me. Go here and hit N. Bring it all the way here. Trim comp to work area, or Shift Command X, and stuff like that. And then we have this. Of course, we want our background, to fit directly here as well. So just go in here, hit U just to make sure it's frozen, solo this to make sure it's frozen all the way. Okay, so we have everything set up. Now, when you drag and drop anything in your, composition, whatever, for example, if I were to, let's move my person here. We're going to use this as an example quick, and then we'll get into the actual thing, okay? Because this tutorial will be long, and I'm just going to be teaching you a lot of cool stuff. For example, I go toggle switches and mode, change the mode to add. Okay. Now, if I were to, for example, scale it down, let's move it here just a little bit. And if I were to edit it, for example, like this, make it my own. And you see here, it doesn't matter, but you see here that we want the shockwave to be against the wall. So that means we want the person to be in front of the shockwave, and we want this doorway to be blocking it, okay? So there's a few cool ways. First of all, let's delete that shockwave. We're going to be using shockwave 07 again, but we're going to find the portion of where he's about to jump. So it's about here where we want it to start, so we're going to bring that shockwave in. Now, we're not going to have it start. What we're going to do is have it open up automatically like this. Press Option left bracket for this. And then what you're going to do, again, change the mode to add, which changes it to this. Now that's fine, then zoom out, hit S on the keyboard to scale it, and then reposition it so you move the anchor point into here. And what we're going to do is customize it, make it our own oval shape, and then we're going to go into toggle switches and modes again, make sure that's a 3D layer, hit P on the keyboard for the Z axis, type in 2000. This is for me, so you can go ahead and figure out your own. And of course you can customize it even more, and the more you go in, then you see the shockwave will automatically be like this, but we want the shockwave to actually kind of open up before he runs in. So maybe a little bit before here. So you see here that the shockwave opens up. So for example, if we want the shockwave to be like this, then we can go ahead and rescale it. So we have our width and stuff, but we want it to be a big type of shockwave. Now what we want to do again is also go into layer, time stretch, and we want to open it up faster, so type in 50. This will just generally make it faster. Actually, for the time stretch, let's make it 25. Okay? And then if you hit play, it'll go out a little faster. Now, for this portion, as soon as it cuts to here, we want it to delete, because then we're going to add a second shockwave and put it against the wall. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. Well, more like 5 frames of it. And for this, what we're going to do is then, in front view, press Command D and then Option left bracket. We're going to title this First Mask. We're going to change the layer color to a red. Now, I generally like to change the layers to different colors so it's easier to mask. Now, this is going to be the, front mask. So in order to do that, you're going to, after you mask, you're going to, first of all, let's solo it. You're going to bring above the shockwave. So let's go ahead and zoom in here real quick. Now we have two parts of the doorway. We have this part. Now we want to, mask around this part. So we're going to create multiple masks real quick. So we have this. Now of course, let's do the background. So we have this. And then you're going to generally make a mask around here, then fix it so you have it like that. But then you're going to go here, you're going to go under, then you're going to mask around the edges of this door, okay, so that the shockwave is not affecting it. And of course the paper is right there too. It's my artwork, and you want to edit it the way you want to. Let's bring it out more. And then you have this. So then you have your person in, you have the paper in, and of course it's messing it up, so let's feather both masks out by 2 so that we have a slight feather, but it's actually not too much. Then we're going to add the shockwave in. Now if you bring the first mask above that layer, you see that the mask is kind of being edited. And if you hit mask and you hit both of them for subtract, then you have this, the shockwave is in, and it's blocking the doorway. Now, then you see this, toggle the mask back on. What is this doing, basically? Basically, the shockwave is still cutting out. So what we want to do, basically, is then add more mask. But before we add the person mask, now, the shockwave portion for here is fine. But the top, we don't want this covering anything. So what we're going to do is press Command-Shift-C to pre-compose this layer, and title this first mask again. And you're going to move all attributes into new composition. That way, you can go ahead and chop the top portion of this mask, of this shockwave, out, okay? Then you hit mask again, subtract. Now you can do that, or you can do this. Go into the shockwave, then the portion you don't want in, then just basically do this. Now of course it chops it out. All you have to do is go into mask and subtract that. Then you just hit feather and make it 5, make it a little bit more. And since it's only a few frames, so 1, 2, 3, then you see that the whole shockwave is basically being pushed against the door. Now, in order to fix any mistakes, all you have to do is go every single frame and maybe say, hey, this portion is blocking stuff I don't want, and then go into here, say, I don't want this anymore. Go into the next frame. Let's take some out. And so you see that it's pretty good. So we have this. So we have all of our masks, but now you're wondering, okay, so what about the person? We want the person to actually be in the shockwave portion. So you're going to go ahead and turn off that shockwave. And starting from this mask, first of all, we're going to go ahead and duplicate it again. Press Option left bracket, change this mask to red. So all of our mask layers will be a red color. So we have the same thing. Let's go ahead and change the pre-composed to red as well. And for this one, we're going to title this person mask, okay? And what you're going to do is you can create a good mask, but you just create a general mask around the edge of your person. You don't want it to be too bad, you don't want it to be too good, just maybe just right, okay? Because you also don't want the shockwave to be affecting your person whatsoever. But since it's only a few frames, which I suggest that you do, you can either freeze frame your person and then make a fake positioning with motion blur, or you can do the live action part and do mask path. But because since it's only a few frames, we only have to do a mask path. So just hit mask path and go ahead and mask each person out. Now since it's only a few frames, I won't skip ahead through it, and because we're going to feather it out just a little bit, then it's fine. And of course the mask is good because my arms are moving. Now this portion, yes, we can fix the mask just a little bit, and of course nothing is being affected right now. That's because the mask layer is not on top of anything, and we have so many other layers, okay, that are affecting everything else, but that will be fixed in a second. Now of course some of the shockwave would be on the person, so we don't want that. So we just have to go in here, fix the head a little bit and stuff like that. We don't want the head chopped off, but since it's only a few frames, if we put on motion blur, then you won't see anything. Then you go into here, that frame's good. But maybe let's take this mask, bring the mask up just a tiny bit, and then untoggle it. Then that way you can see everything. And you bring above here, hit F on the keyboard, and feather it out by 5. Now turn on that shockwave, and you have this. So, for example, the person's on the shockwave, it's like that. The person is above the shockwave, then you have this. So he's running in like that. So the shockwave opens up, and he's about to run. And you can see as he's running, the shockwave is moving around him. So it's similar to that. Now, first of all, what I'm going to go ahead and do is go to File, Save As. I'm just going to title this as Tutorial because we're going to be doing some BC Color Vibrance for this shockwave. And sometimes it closes out, so I want to make sure everything has been saved. BC Color Vibrance, it's a free plugin from Video Copilot. So what we're going to do is go ahead and change this to a blue, and then press Command S to save that. So we have this. And of course the color correction is not that great, but that's fine for now. So you have this. It's very, very good. Very well. Now the shockwave we automatically want to start. So what we're going to do is go ahead and duplicate that shockwave. We're going to keep the shockwave the same. So for the return, we'll make the shockwave different, okay? Ooh, maybe I could get a charger real quick. Okay. Okay, so basically what we're going to be doing is, making it a general. So we have this shockwave, but we want it to still be opening up. So we'll press Option left bracket on that, make it the same length. We're going to make it, what we're going to do is basically see this. It's halfway between here, so we're going to do halfway, and this is where the person is going to end. So that's when we want the shockwave to actually start closing. So we're going to go here, and we're going to make sure it stops there, and then we're going to duplicate it again. But anyways, you see here, and we have this, and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is to match it up against the wall for the shockwave. First of all, we're going to title this Wall Shockwave, okay? And we're going to go ahead and stretch it out. Now, because it's a 3D layer, we can go ahead and hit R on the keyboard, and for Y rotation, this will make it go against the wall. So just start using the negative, and for the Z tool, push it back, and just start, messing around with it. And then what you're going to do is make it even more. And so you can see here that we could change the width even more. And what you're going to do is actually go a few frames and see where your person is. Now, of course, the shockwave is like this, so that's where you want to fix it. You want your shockwave to be more general against the wall. So we're going to hit P on the keyboard, move it out a bit, move it, and stuff like that. Move it in. And so the person, of course, the knee portion, any portion that is, behind the shockwave, we'll put in front of and stuff like that. And so what we're going to do now is find the portion where we want him to start being masked out. So it's right here. So then what we're going to do is go ahead and look at side view. Press Command D to duplicate it, or Control D, or go to Edit and Duplicate. And we're going to press Option left bracket for this. Now you already see we have so many layers, but that's fine. This is an advanced tutorial. This is what we're going to be doing. Change this to a red color, and we're going to change this to moving out. We're just going to be a general term to make it look good. So what you're going to do basically is before we put it above the shockwave, we're going to go ahead and use a mask tool. Now, what you can do is basically, basically freeze frame the layer and then mask him and then position it to make it look like that. Or you can just do live action part to show him moving. You can use a wiggle to make it move and stuff like that. But we're just going to do this. Of course, there's no change. Hit mask map. Now, of course, there's only a few frames. So let's go one frame. And of course, we're going to have to keyframe it. Now, you don't want any portion of the wall because that would mask it out. So again, we're going to go ahead and fix that mask. Let's see. That's the back mask is fine. We could fix this just a little bit, touch it up. Then you highlight some of the keyframes, they'll go up, and this keyframe needs to be fixed, and stuff like that. There's some stuff, like so, the knee portion, and like that. And first of all, let's go ahead and solo the movie now, and let's go ahead and solo the background, not this background, the second background. Okay, and so this is what the mask looks like, and we're going to go ahead one more frame, and it keeps moving, so we're going to go ahead and highlight all the keyframes, move it just a little bit, go to this portion, and he's moving in more, and the more he's getting closer to the wall, then we're going to start cutting him out. So this is actually about the time, so go ahead and go 2 frames, and move him like this. So if you have this, then you see he's about to hit the wall. So we're going to go ahead and fix, first of all, whoops, we're going to go ahead and fix some of these keyframes, which is, making it right there. Let me zoom it in. So, like I said for Season 2, fixing the mask, is that my tutorials will be fast. But because this tutorial didn't come out in Season 1, and this is supposed to be for a Season 1 tutorial, I decided to make it a long tutorial. Now there are other tutorials similar to this, but I want to make my own twist on it. Hopefully in the future I can make a similar version to the actual flashes. Time travel, of course, and you see here I'm cutting out a lot of parts, stuff like that. You fix a lot of stuff. Again, so then you see here, this frame we really want to start cutting them out. So we're going to highlight all of these keyframes right here, move them out, then highlight all of these keyframes, and then move them in so it gets cut out. And we're going to go ahead and use 2 more frames for this. So then for this portion, we're going to go ahead and highlight it again, and we're going to move them out just a little bit. And for the last, I'm going to go ahead and make sure, let's do one more, and highlight all of these again and move them out. And then you have this, so let me go right here real quick, press N, so you have this. So it's almost like a phasing effect, and we have this. Now if you want to touch it up a little bit, you could mask around the wall, but that's fine, the shockwave. Now let's go ahead and go in and see that for the feathering we could do 5. Touch it up a bit, and we're going to go ahead and turn on that motion blur to give more motion blur towards it. Let's go ahead and turn on the shockwave portion. Not this one, this one. Okay, we have this. Now we'll go ahead and bring up that above the shockwave, and let's go ahead and move this out. So let's go ahead and move it back just a little bit, and let's see what we have done so far with everything else. We go ahead and turn on everything. So then we have this. He runs through, and he jumps. And let's go ahead and move it out more. And that looks good, he's going through here and stuff like that. Now a little touch up with the mask for this mask. Let's go ahead and go into effects and presets and type in fast blur, which will be in blur and sharpen, and we're just going to go up by 1.5. This is, now you can go up more to blur them out, but let's go ahead and actually do 2 just to see. Go up 5, yeah, or 10. At least want to blur them out just a little bit to make that time lapse. Okay, so we have the, turning in stuff, okay? And we have this. Now, you'll see this portion first of all. That you'll see this shockwave, everything like this, because of the mask, of making the mask go out even more. So let's go ahead and define the mask. First of all, let's highlight all of these and unsolo them, because we don't need that anymore. Now, the bad thing about this is we have to find our mask we created, okay? Which is moving out, and then we have to find the shockwave. And as well as the background is fine, but we have to find basically the shockwave, and we have to make it last longer. Now, because of the fact that as the person hits the wall, then the shockwave is like this. So he comes out like this, the shockwave is different, and stuff like that. We don't understand why, and stuff like that. That's fine. Because of the fact that it is literally only a few frames, it'll look like this. But that's only on rendering. It'll look like this. And of course it, does this portion. Now, as soon as the person disappears, like literally one frame as soon as the person disappears, you want to duplicate that wall shockwave, okay? And first of all, if you want to do this, press Command-Shift-D, and for this portion, then move it above the moving out, okay? So we have this. Maybe make it even a little bit longer. So we have this, and then add motion blur to this one, and stuff like that. Now, for the first wall shockwave, we're going to duplicate that, and since the person disappears about here, we're going to move that shockwave, and we're going to move it out into here, press Option left bracket, and what you're going to do is go into Layer. First of all, we're going to go ahead and rename this to Reverse Shockwave, and you're going to change that color layer to purple, okay? And not purple, actually, yeah, purple. And then what you're going to do is go to Layer, Time, and then Time Reverse Layer. I don't know the shortcut to this, or whatever it's called, but just click on Time Reverse Layer. This reverses it, meaning it will close. Now, of course, it doesn't close because we have the whole beginning. So what you want to do is this. Move it out all the way, and go ahead and do this portion. And then press Option left bracket, trim it exactly to where it's supposed to be, stuff like that. And then you have this. Now, of course, because it doesn't close out automatically because the background is more, press Command K to fix that by going into 12 seconds and just making it generally a little bit longer. You can see that everything else, so for anything like the background, so find the background, make it here, and stuff like that, and you see that the shockwave closes. And we want to make the background a little bit longer, so we have this, and then press N, and then go back to trim comp to work area, so then we have this. Okay, and then the shockwave closes and stuff like that. Now, of course, with the person in it, you can add a little bit of distortion, but that's, okay, you can do that and stuff, like, you don't have to do that. So before we get into the return, let's go ahead and find the shockwave portion, and let's go ahead and do this. Layer, Time, Adjustment Layer, and go into Effects and Presets and type in my favorite one, which is Curves, and you can either make it brighter or you can tune down the brightness. And let's first say, let's bring up the red just a little bit, bring down the green, the yellow /green, bring up the blue to match it just a little bit, so give it that lightness towards it, and then you see this, you run towards, it opens up, and it's the same color correction, no change, the background is perfect, it does this, and stuff like that. So we have that. So then go back into your project, go to the return clip, go ahead and drag and drop that into new comp. Now this one will be the hardest one, as it's a return. So go ahead and first of all press Command D, then Layer, Time, Freeze Frame, title this, title this Frozen Layer, then go ahead and drag and drop that underneath, change it to purple. For the return clip, let's go ahead and find the portion where I'm in the air, So it's, let's see, we want to basically do it about here. So press Option left bracket, and then you're going to basically scroll forward here, for example. This is the portion where you want him to stop. So then press Command Shift D. Now for this, we want him to be frozen. So layer, time, freeze frame. Now this is optional. You can you can either, freeze frame it or go ahead and do the mask and stuff like that. But we're going to see here. So this is the portion where we want him to transition. So of course we're going to add some motion blur. And we're going to go ahead and go, let's see, like 4 frames in. And we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to do motion mask. For this one, we're going to do return mask. So we're going to change this one to a red, this one to a yellow. Alright, so for this one, that way we have motion blur. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and mask him out. We don't need to mask inside the arm. It doesn't have to be a super detailed mask. This will first of all bring out, put the shockwave behind him, since he'll be moving more out of the screen, as well as doing other stuff. So go ahead and do mask path, then move it just a little bit, slightly, and we'll do a lot of feathering to adjust it, stuff like that. I think the shoulder is a little out of place, so you can go ahead and fix that by doing the arm and stuff like that. Also, another thing to note is when I have longer tutorials like this, it usually takes a long time to export anyways. So I'm not going to actually, when I have longer tutorials like this, then I'm actually not going to have my VFXBro intro. I know that's like, helps promote my YouTube channel and stuff like that for purposes to show that it's my channel, but I don't really want to spend so long for it to upload. So let's go ahead and untoggle that mask and let's say feather up by 5, turn on motion blur. So you have this, and for the transition part, of course, so we're going to do this, then go back into here, go into the red. The red is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 frames. But because of the fact that it is frozen layer, we can go ahead and mask it. Now we're going to have to do a really detailed mask, so go ahead and zoom in. Now you may have to do different masks for different portions because you don't want to mask the Lego set or anything like that. So anything that's in the way, you can remove it if you want, since you have a blank screen, but it's not. Let's go ahead and do this. See the arm, and of course it's a frozen layer, so we can do anything. Even if you position it, you can practically do anything with it and stuff like that. You don't have to do any mask path whatsoever. It's practically your own layer. You may have to make a mask around the shockwave as well, which I'll show you how to do as well. Okay, so because of the fact if you don't have shockwave, any of the assets I create myself, I always make sure that you're able to use the 2 main modes, which is add as well as screen. So during this time, if you actually have been using the shockwave and you're wondering why I don't have the assets on my in After Effects right now, it's because actually I have created them, but they're in another project and I'd rather not open that. So basically, just when you go ahead and open them, first of all, they're customizable. So there's the actual project file itself in there, and then there's also the video clip of the shockwave that I kind of created, and there's that portion too. So there's 2 different things for that you can, so that the project is there so that you can edit it yourself if you want to change some things up, and stuff like that. But then there's this. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is, before we add the shockwave, we're going to go ahead and do mask path just in case. Press Shift R to bring up the rotation, Shift P to bring up the position. We're going to do this, go like 4 frames, and then go ahead and position him forward. Or bring him down, and since it will be a little fast paced, then we have this. And of course we want the transition to be here, so let's go ahead and bring him down even more. Then we have this real quick. And of course it's really fake because it's super slow. That's fine. We can go ahead and after that, make it faster and stuff like that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is actually make that faster by precomposing it by pressing Command-Shift-C and turn mask, move all attributes, change this back to a red, go to layer, time stretch, change it to 100 to 15 to make it fast. We have this. If I hit play, it's almost like a super fast, so let's go ahead and layer, time stretch again, and let's change it back to like 25, so up it 10 more. And you have this. We have a nice transition with motion blur around it, so let's go ahead and add the motion blur back on. We have this. And of course it goes so fast that there's almost nothing there. Of course, we have this, so then you go forward like this, and you see that he returns back. Why is that? Well, because first of all, it's super fast, so because of the fact it trims it to the portion, and it's only 2 frames, so then you just basically highlight both of these, bring it forward towards here, find the portion where he disappears, then add it, and then play it, and then you'll have your nice transition. So you have that. So you can either do that or just do a blank screen and have them appear and stuff like that. So it's like that. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and add shockwave 17, and and what we're going to do first of all is, since we already have our frozen layer or our back plate, we're going to highlight all these 3 layers, and we're going to first of all go to the beginning. Now we want maybe a few seconds of the shockwave to actually open up before the person comes in. Then what we're going to do is solo both the background and the shockwave, change the shockwave to add, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and open that, press Command Save for this, go back into VC Color Vibrance, or actually to get the exact color, go back into Front View, find your shockwave, press Command C, and go back in here, press Command V, press Command Save again so it saves it. And of course we're going to go ahead and edit it to our own, rotate it. So actually we're going to solo our person as well. So let's go ahead and go into here, and let's actually find our return mask, okay? So we have this. Now of course we want the return mask to be above here, so we have this. And then for the shockwave, you're going to go ahead and rotate it. But in order to do that, let's make it a 3 layer. Rotation, or Y rotation. We're going to move it here, use the X right here, as well as the Z to kind of copy it, then hit the P tool, move it inward, move it forward just a little bit, so we have this, and this is what it looks like. So as you see here, it'll open up like that. And of course we also want the person to, be coming through that portion. First of all, the positioning is really bad. We want the shockwave to follow the positioning. So go ahead and position, man, I'm losing my voice today. Go ahead and position it like this. So about here as he moves, keyframe that. But then go back. We want the shockwave to kind of follow the person. So go ahead and bring it above here and go back just a little bit. And do this. Maybe bring it in out more. And then you have this. Now of course we can delete this keyframe so we don't have that. copy this keyframe, Command C, go back, Command V, so we have the same thing. And of course we have this portion, but we want half of his body to basically, you know, in time to fully come out. So what we're going to do is, with the return mask, we're going to create another mask. So this mask is going to be known as the portion of him being clipped out. So you're going to go ahead and type in make a mask and then hit M on the keyboard, subtract that mask, and then feather it out by about 10 pixels. So we have this. So what you're going to do is basically he disappears, but we want him to basically look like he's actually, first of all we're going to create multiple keyframes to make it look cooler. So basically what we're going to be doing is cutting them out. So we're going to be making it look like he's coming in from the portion. So actually when he comes in, then we're going to hit M on the keyboard for mask path. We're going to go ahead a few frames, then cut him out even more, and stuff like that. Then go ahead and go one more frame, cut him out even more, because we want him to be going through it, as a way. So this is what it looks like, basically. Let me solo the motion mask, everything back on basically. And then we have this, where we won't want the shockwave to end. So basically we have this portion. Now the shockwave here, the person is like this. So let's go ahead and scale that return mask up, move it along here so that matches it. So then we have this, and it looks like he's actually going through it, and stuff like that. So he's halfway through, stuff like that. And of course this is where we have the motion mask, where we bring above the shockwave, so he's above it, so it looks like he's blocking everything out and stuff like that. And after the mask is finished, then that's when we want the shockwave to hopefully close. So after that, then you press Command D, Option left bracket, oh wait, no, not that, and then go to Layer, Time, Reverse Layer, and stuff like that. Find the portion where you kind of want to close it. Oh crap, I've been doing the wrong one. Whoops. Hang on a sec. Okay. Find this one. And about here. So this is when we want to start closing, okay? I messed up a lot on there. So then drag this, and let's say find the portion of when you want it to start closing. Now of course unsolo this one so you see what's going on. And let's go ahead and go in more. Let's maybe bring it about here. And you see this portion. Let's make the mask a little bit longer, and let's feather that out even more. So it's doing that, kind of like that. And then basically it closes. Or we can do this, make this, first of all, press Command Shift D, then go to Layer, Time Stretch, and go to 15 to make it really, really short. And then hit play. So then it goes out like that. And then after that, you want to go ahead and take all of these and unsolo them, so it's like that. And let's go ahead and look at the finished product now. Of course, this shockwave is still acting towards it, so let's go ahead and find this. For this shockwave, you want to first of all bring it out. And because of the reverse layer, again, we have to find the portion of this. This is where we wanted it to start, like that. Okay, and then we have the final version. So the shockwave opens up, we have that, a little bit of that. Now, of course, we couldn't, actually add, because of this portion, we need to add some motion blur for the motion mask. So go ahead and add a fast blur on that by moving it up 5 pixels, actually 3, no, 2, and then add a camera lens blur as well. But tune this down to 1.5. So we have that. And it goes out super fast. And we have this. Now we have the portion where where he's about to run out. So again, like our super speed tutorial, go ahead and take that turn clip, press Command Shift D, title this super speed, and go to layer, time, enable time mapping, keyframe this, then basically find the portion where he runs out, keyframe that, go about this, and move it as fast as you can, put that motion blur on, and you have this. Of course that looks fake, but you can add the other motion blur. Press Option left bracket so he's out, Option left bracket on this, any portions you need, and then hit N, so it trims it. So this one is about a few seconds long. So we have this portion, then we have the super speed. Now of course you can go ahead and go into the super speed, type in CC something, CC blur, CC vector, or what was that CC blur? CC motion. Let's go back into, just type in blur so we have all of them. What was it? CC force motion blur, which is in time. So the default is fine. Let's go ahead and use the same color correction by pressing Command C, and again pressing Command V, making this longer so we have the same color correction. It's a little pink, that's fine. We have this, and it's perfect, okay? So if you want to bring everything together and make a new comp, and let's make this, if you got 12, let's make it 2 minutes, so make a huge comp and title this composition final. Make it new. First of all, I need to change the background color back to black, okay? And to bring everything in, go and find your front view, which is front view 2, bring that in, then find the portion where it goes out. So, and you want to make the transition very, very good. So, as the shockwave goes out, then you find the turn clip 2, and hold it down the shift key so it puts it there, and you have this. And of course, as he moves out, then press M on the keyboard, move it in one more frame, trim comp to work area, then press Command K to see how long it is. It's 7 seconds and 14 milliseconds long. So 7.14 seconds, and then you have this. It goes out, he comes in, then he super speeds out. So that is the effect. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please rate, comment, subscribe for more tutorials. And again, peace. Have a good day, guys. Have a good Friday. More tutorials will be coming out soon for Season 2.